Jake. What do you call a bear with no teeth?
I'm gonna get one of these days. I feel like you've got all these from that bit in The Hobbit where Gollum is riddling himself.
One of these days, I'm gonna tear you into little pieces.
So a bear? Nah, I don't fucking know.
A gummy bear.
Oh.
All right. So yeah, welcome.
Yep.
That was pretty funny, wasn't it?
That was quite funny.
Yeah.
Hysterical.
Today we're going to be watching School Reunion.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. Last time was Tooth and Claw, and we got to see the start of Torchwood. And you said that you don't want side characters in this one.
I don't want an overabundance of side characters.
Right. Sounds good. Well, let's find out if this school has no side characters in it.
I already know it doesn't.
Because I can't imagine a school without side characters in it.
Or
right?
it could be a ghost town of a school.
maybe it's a school of fish, and it's like Finding Nemo, and it has to point you to where you have to go.
Leave the jokes for the start of the episode.
Isn't it through the thing, not over the thing that they have to go through?
Yeah.
But then Dory goes over because Ellen DeGeneres.
Is this a fucking Finding Nemo review and reaction?
It is now.
Yes. Right.
Yes. Yes.
Let's watch School Reunion, and hopefully, you're not disappointed.
Hopefully. I don't ever hope. A weird innuendo though.
You like a jelly baby?
Oh, Professor.
So the doctor's a substitute teacher.
And it's part time.
Didn't you just see it?
What's that?
Jelly baby?
Hey.
Would you like a jelly, baby? Actually, I will take one. Very quick opening, wasn't it?
Yeah. Very snappy, very to the point. Good job, Toby Woodhouse.
School Reunion by Toby Whithouse.
Is he witty?
You haven't had Whithouse yet?
I want to copy his homework.
Smug bastard.
Specifically designed by the Eggmaster to improve concentration and performance. Now get back to work.
Ah! Rose is human and therefore likes the human food.
Aha.
Doctor not human. Doctor no likey.
Who's this guy? He looks very strong.
Yeah.
He's got a dashing suit.
I was just about to say, pinstripe.
Don't mind me, I'm gonna get comfortable.
But yeah.
Every time I see you in an emergency,
Bloody Mickey. Always making shit go wrong.
It's always Mickey's fault.
Yeah, my friend spontaneously combusts.
things you will see.
Ugh.
This Dalek is downloading the entire internet!
This is how I picture people angrily writing on Doctor Who forums.
Yeah.
Alright, this sequence has been way too long. Come on. Come on. Let's cut out of this shit.
Do try the chips.
Oh, I'd love to, thank you. And it's got to be said, the transformation you've brought about.
Your time. May I introduce Miss Sarah Jane Smith. Miss Smith is a journalist who's writing a profile on me for the Sunday Times. I thought it might be useful for her to get a view. Why should you think so?
And you are
Smith, John Smith.
John Smith. I used to have a friend who sometimes
Who?
went by that name.
Well,
That's his alias that he goes by.
But her, who?
Very
Sarah Jane Smith.
nice to meet you.
Jesus.
this isn't your classroom, Kay. No, right.
I'm an expert at this.
Hello, Sarah Jane.
You've regenerated.
Half a dozen times since we last met.
I got it.
Half a dozen times. 6 times.
Mm-hmm.
How old was she the first time?
Like 25?
5, 26? Mid-20s, yeah.
She's not that old.
Yeah, but his timeline's different to hers.
Oh, right. Sorry.
No, because she's been on Earth.
Yes. Sorry. Little human mind. Big concept. Big comprehendo.
It's alright.
Who's she?
Oh, Sarah Jane. Sarah Jane Rose.
Hi.
Oh.
Nice to meet you.
It was dark. I was covered in red. 9, maybe 10 years old. I'm seeing pigtails. Pretty scared.
Hello, can we focus? Does anyone notice anything?
Doctor still doesn't like Mickey.
No, the doctor's a bit of a dick.
Obviously, they use some biology there.
For years. Free from the dark ages.
Anyway, moving on. Everything started when Mr.
Ah. Oh, it's pretty funny.
K9! Rose Tyler, Mickey Smith, allow me to introduce K9. Well, K9 Mark III to be precise.
It's the Doctor's robot dog. You know, it took me forever to realise why it was called K9.
Really?
Yeah, I never understood it, like, forever. Since the start of the show, she's been obsessed with chips.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's cooked on that gunk.
True.
No, but not just this episode. Like, in End of the World, she was obsessed with chips as well.
Oh, yeah, that's
And
right.
then in Parting of the Ways, her, Mickey and Jackie go to a fish and chip shop
Yeah.
and have chips.
They're British. British people like chips.
And Rose?
She was there too.
Oh.
Did I do something wrong? Because you never came back. You were my. You're the most difficult.
Is it a little Dalek?
No, it's a robot dog.
Oh. Yeah, but like a little Dalek inside there that's been reconditioned
No,
to be a dog.
Wouldn't touch them.
No, this is a full robot, no sidewalk parts, as far as I'm aware.
Oh my god. I'm a tin dog.
Oh,
when
Mickey.
Mickey realises he's K9.
I don't age. I regenerate. The humans decay. You wither and you die. Imagine watching that happen to someone you can spend the rest of your life with me. But I can't spend the rest of mine with you. I have to live on. Alone.
Tinsley stare across the room.
I promise you.
break times finish early. Isn't that fantastic? Said no one ever.
Yeah. Well.
We're having an early lunch.
Oh, massive.
Yummy.
Anything except a deadlock seal. There's got to be something inside here.
Ah. Set up in the episode Bad Wolf.
Yes, yes. So my screwdriver couldn't be the be all and end all of all stories.
We'll get to that. I think they try to make it very plain and clear to you that this
Yeah.
is weird.
Yeah.
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 I love that screen flicker on the old monitors.
Are they using the children to brute force the code or something? It's like human brute forcing. It's an actual thing. Although it's extremely inefficient.
We are in a car.
Hello, idiot. We in car.
Eating their souls.
Oh.
The lesson begins. Someone like you. Paradigm gives us power, but you could give us wisdom. Become a god.
Moral conflict.
Imagine standing tall. Time Lords. Reborn.
Ooh.
You could breathe throughout it as be doctor. Join us. I could save everyone. Yes. I could stop the war.
The universe has to move forward. Pain and loss, they define us as much as happiness or love. Whether it's a world or a relationship. Everything has its time. And everything ends.
Destruction of property, Doctor.
Just fucking grab a chair and throw it. That was really nice. I really like that scene a lot.
Yeah.
Alright.
Look at his little tail wagging.
For now, I
He's a terrorist!
Can I come? I'm not with you. I mean, with you. Rose, is that okay?
No, no. Why not?
And I better go.
My Sarah Jane.
What?
Come on, you. Home. Got work to do.
He replaced you with a brand new one.
Quickly before the surfboard!
So, Jakey boy, what did you think of School Reunion?
I quite liked it. I mean, it was a weird. It felt slow, but also felt like it was moving at the right speed and stuff. It didn't need to be a quick, punchy, fast-paced action story.
Yeah.
It was just a good whodunit story,
Yeah.
and we already know who done it.
Yeah.
So, I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good.
I like.
I'm actually a big fan of this episode.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of it has to do with the ties to Classic Who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For sure.
I don't think I'd be as biased on it if it wasn't.
Yeah. that's-
But even saying that, I enjoyed the story and the characters as well.
Yeah, the characters were great.
Because the thing is, like, oh no, we'll get into it when we talk about characters, but the story serves the characters for the most part really well.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Yes, we'll get into that.
Yes. Right. So, Jake, what did you think of the Doctor in this episode?
It was more Doctor centric, which I liked.
Yeah.
It was about the Doctor figuring it out, and I liked this David Tennant style.
Yeah.
Not too cocaine-y.
And sort of subdued, a little bit more
Subdued.
and professorial.
Yeah. I really like that. Yeah.
I feel like this was the first one when we actually got the 10th Doctor.
Yeah. This was
Yeah.
this was like the first episode.
Mm.
It should have been the first episode.
Yeah.
Or that style.
I really like the 10th Doctor in this.
Yeah.
There's a lot of scenes in there. One of them is obviously one of them is when he bumps into Sarah Jane at the beginning.
Yeah.
I really like that scene. I also like the scene at the swimming pool.
Yeah, it's a
Mr.
cool scene.
Finch. And
My
then
favorite's in the computer room.
yeah, that scene in the computer room as well.
Yeah.
And then I also really like the scene where he's outside with Rose and he tells her about how he ages
Yeah.
and he has to watch his friends die.
Yeah.
And it's almost like for him it's like when you own a pet and
Yeah.
you only have them for like 10, 20 years of your life and you
They
have
literally are as pets.
and you know that at some point they're going to die and it's going to be sad.
Yeah.
And that's what humans are for him.
Little pet.
It's true.
It is.
It's
it is.
true.
It's awful and tragic, but
Yeah.
the companions are his pets.
Pretty much, yeah.
Little pet.
Yeah. What did you think of?
The 10th Doctor. Well, I agree that this sort of, for me, is kind of in series 2 where David Tennant first really seems like he's settling into the role.
Yeah.
But that's not just him, that's the writing as well.
Yeah.
They seem to be more confident in writing him different from Eccleston.
The irony is that it's the first one that's not of Davies.
Yes. But the thing I like about this episode is it's character building for the Doctor in terms of we get to know more about his psyche when what he thinks of companions that have left and him when he's confronted with his past and that kind of thing and he's because as opposed to New Earth when he just got really shouty at the Catwoman
For no reason.
when Finch is basically saying become a god, Doctor, join us, give us your wisdom, and you can see he's thinking about it.
Yeah.
He's contemplating it. But then he obviously he throws the chair and smashes it.
Well, he does that because of Sarah Jane.
Yeah.
She reminded him of who he really is.
Absolutely, because Sarah Jane is there that reminds him of what he was before the Time War,
Yeah.
before it fucked him up.
Yeah. So how much cocaine was David Tennant sniffing?
On a good sober level.
Yeah.
This
Sober.
Very sober.
Yeah.
But
a good, an enjoyable sober.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't like a depressing sober. It was a happy sober.
Yeah.
He was on a different high.
Yes, he was high on life.
Yes, very healthy. Yeah. Right. So Jake, what did you think of Sarah Jane Smith?
I like her character. I don't know if it's sort of the same or reminiscent of the old character.
It's pretty much.
Does it feel like the same
It
person?
feels like a very logical progression of where she would.
I would say for the most part, it's like an older version.
Yeah.
Right.
But there's definitely some changes.
Yeah.
I liked it, and I liked the whole Mrs. meets the ex,
Yeah.
and that whole conflict. It was cool. It was a cool subplot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think as an actress, she's a very charming actress.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
And you feel comfortable with her.
Yeah.
Because like even in the classic series, she's a very warm figure. Like she's just a very lovely, like as you said, you feel comfortable around her.
Is it the same actress?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And she like Elizabeth Sladen, and she's not got sort of like an electrifying presence, but she's got a very strong presence,
Yeah.
which I really like.
Yeah. I think the only thing that from because I've watched all of her, not all of her episodes, but all of her with the Fourth Doctor. I remember, for the most part, she was written relatively well, but there was a lot of episodes where they went back to the classic screaming companion thing,
Yeah,
and it
true.
really annoyed me. I'm like, you could be doing something completely different with this.
Yeah. Think of her like in Pyramids of Mars.
Yeah, that was
Which
great,
picks up the
fantastic,
rifle, yeah.
and Seeds of Doom as well. She was
Yes,
great in that,
yes.
and especially the Hand of Fear, obviously.
Oh yeah. Oh.
But
yes.
and of course the Time Warrior.
Yes.
But yeah, the she outside of when writing got lazy and they made her a screamer, she was a very very good character.
Yeah.
And in fact, on DWM, she's I'm pretty sure I hope I'm not mistaken about this, but I'm pretty sure on DWM she's number 1 for companions
That
for
makes
all
sense.
of Doctor Who.
That makes sense.
Yeah, and she was with the Doctor for 4 seasons,
Right.
which is
Quite long.
relatively long.
And she was across 2 doctors. In
Yeah,
her 4
third
seasons.
and fourth Doctor.
Right.
And then she met some of the others.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. So that I thought she was absolutely fantastic. And also a more interesting discussion. What did you think of Rose?
Yeah, it was a bit. She seems like a little confused child at the moment.
Yeah.
And is definitely not. Is trying to have too many fingers and too many pies. If I were to put it bluntly.
A little bit greedy.
She's a little bit greedy at the moment.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's weird.
I would say it's not as bad as what I remember, but it's still not great.
Yeah.
She's awful to Mickey.
Yeah.
And like they're together, and
Yeah.
she's so cruel to him. And when the Doctor lets Mickey sign on, Rose is like, "No, yeah, that's great." What the fuck is that?
Yeah.
Am I supposed to find that endearing? Am I supposed to be on the side of Rose in that argument? No. Sarah Jane Smith, the Doctor, and Mickey are all in the right in that situation.
Yeah.
She really gets under...
That one line might be my least favorite Rose line
It
ever.
gets so under my skin. Like, especially because this whole episode, Mickey's been proving himself.
I don't know if you're like angry at the writing or if you're just angry at the character.
I think the biggest issue for you is that she's not a team player.
Yes! And also, and the fact that she's not a team player, and also that the big thing that bugs me is, as you've seen in series 1, she's a consistent character. But in the last 3 episodes, she's been 3 different characters.
Yeah, she was brilliant in Tooth and Claw.
Yeah, there's been, I love her in Tooth and Claw because she's a lot like what she's like in series 1, but more mature.
Yeah.
She's learnt from being with the Doctor. Whereas in this, she's a petulant child. And yes, I know she's supposed to be 19, 20 in this.
She feels like 16 years
Yeah,
old.
she like the school reunion's appropriate because she's acting like a fucking schoolgirl. It's just
Maybe it is because she's back at school. She's like just back in that mindset.
and maybe it's also I'm triggered because I don't like it when people treat Sarah Jane like trash because she's like so pivotal to Doctor Who history. But I did not like how she was so combative with Sarah Jane.
Yeah, I mean, I don't find it jarring that the character's acting that way, but
Neither.
yeah, it's not likable.
No, it's
That's for sure.
I found it funny, but maybe that's because I don't.
Yeah,
know.
I think it's funny too, but we're specifically targeting certain moments where
Right.
Rose gets into that.
she goes too far.
She
into
gets to that really psycho, jealous, bitchy mode.
Yeah.
And it's like, ooh.
Yeah, makes her super unlikable.
Yeah, but
Definitely went full psycho this episode.
yeah, yeah, and I feel like everyone knows someone that's like that, or has met someone that's like that. What did you think of Mickey in this episode?
Oh, poor dude.
Is he the tin dog?
I mean, he's the tin dog. He's the new model tin dog. At the end, he becomes the tin dog new model.
Right.
Tin Dog X. But yeah, it's been a whole season, and he's still trying to prove himself.
Even though he kind of did do before,
Yeah.
especially in Aliens of London World War 3.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know,
Yeah, That's another thing. Like the Doctor's much nicer to him than Eccleston's was,
Yeah.
but he's still a dick to Mickey,
Yeah.
and it's all just because he's flirting with Rose, and then I just do not. The dynamic I don't find endearing. It
weird.
frustrates me.
It's weird.
Yeah.
Weird triangle.
And the thing is, I think one thing that could have been handled a bit better is Eccleston is a dick to Mickey, but they don't. The way that he goes about it is almost like he doesn't give a shit.
No, yeah.
Whereas I feel like Tennant is doing the 10th Doctor's doing it because he's actually got feelings now.
He's showboat. Whereas it felt like in series 1, the 9th Doctor was winding Mickey up, as he was winding Mickey up for Mickey's sake, just to get a rise out of Mickey.
Yeah.
Whereas in series 2, he's doing it to impress Rose.
Yeah.
It feels more sinister in the second series, whereas in the first one it felt almost like fun banter.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, he's still like he is really mean to Mickey in series 1, but it's the way that it's handled. It's like this. There's something about the way that the 9th Doctor does it. It feels more like he's not doing it because he has to.
Yeah.
He's just doing it because he doesn't care.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I find that a better approach. But,
absolutely.
But then again, when you think about the way that the story's being written, I think as it's gone on, I think maybe the Doctor's more attached to Rose now than he was then.
Oh no, he absolutely.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely
that's.
is.
I think the logical that what they're trying to do is the Doctor came out of the Time War and he was a broken man, and then the intention of the story is Rose fixed him in heavy quotation marks, because I don't quite like that narrative, but I understand what they're going for.
Right.
Like I get what they're going for, but I don't necessarily agree with it.
Yeah, it's one of those things where they're telling a story that makes sense that you're just not necessarily that fond of.
Yes, very much
Yeah.
so.
So what did you think of Mr. Finch and the Krillitane?
I thought Mr. Finch was really cool.
Yeah.
And there's the Krillitane.
Yeah.
They were interesting.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to be able to see what they look like before the.
Or with the long necks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Mr. Finch is a very creepy, well acted villain.
Oh, Anthony Stewart Head, the guy who played him, he's like, I wish he wasn't just this one villain. I wish he was a reoccurring character,
he could have been in like a more serious episode.
Yes, like he could be.
Like I love him in this, but he could have been something else too.
Like he could have played like a major. Like the thing is that I really like is he upstages David Tennant in this.
Yeah.
He doesn't do anything. He doesn't raise his voice. He's just very calm and collected. And,
Yeah.
Doctor, we could use your wisdom. It's all very.
And he's got this ability because like it's weird. He's playing a camp villain, but he still has this ability for you to take him seriously.
Yeah.
Which is a really big talent to have.
And he's also endearing, even though the fact that he ate a child in the cold open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane. Yeah. Yeah. There was definitely some dark undertones to this episode, but the main theme sort of overrode that, I guess.
Yeah.
But it wasn't jarring like New Earth.
No.
Thank God for that. Yeah, even though the CGI is really dated, I still like the Krillitane.
I like the design, yeah.
Yeah, I like the design.
Yeah.
Just wish it was kind of polished a bit.
But
A bit more polished like the werewolf.
yeah, but the thing is, 2006 budget, and clearly they spent a lot of budget on the werewolf, and,
Yeah.
and obviously things later in the season, I'm sure, because they didn't shoot it chronologically, I assume.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, I mean, also the thing is, the werewolf was in a lot of scenes with shadows,
yes,
and shadows make a big difference. Whereas this was bright colours and
Yeah.
lots of
going through school hallways.
Yeah.
very very tangible setting.
Yes.
What did you think of K9?
It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that is not going to be a recurring thing further on down the line.
Not for Doctor Who, no.
Right.
Yeah, K9, but K9 was one of the like sort of companions
Oh yeah.
back in the day.
Did it look this similar?
Yeah, pretty much.
Pretty much exactly the same, except
Um,
he's a little more banged up in this one and rusty.
Yeah.
Oh.
From what I've seen, he's still kind of funny in the old one, but he's a little bit more robotic.
Yeah, he's sort of more the sort of cutesy side relief as opposed to the comic relief.
Yeah.
But he does have a few witty bits here and there.
Yeah.
But the funniest thing that ever happened with him is there's an outtake from an old Tom Baker episode where Tom Baker asks K9 for help. K9 says, "We don't have that information," and he says, "You never have the answer when it's fucking appropriate, do you?" Or something to that effect, and it's really funny. Yeah.
It felt like almost an R2D2.
Yeah,
story.
Very much so.
There's another scene with K9 I really like when he meets Ramona 1 in the Bribos operation, and she's like, "I am Ramona," or whatever she says, and then he's sitting there with K9, he's like, "Oh, is that right? How can we help you?" K9's a nice little addition to the Doctor Who universe.
He's not overbearing to the plot, so it's fine.
Yeah, you have to try and avoid that with K9.
Yeah.
And side characters, I guess there was the students and all those extras.
I mean, if you know, you guys had a little snigger when I said that I didn't want more side characters, but really there wasn't that many side characters.
Yeah.
Nah.
We had a snigger because you said no side characters, and instantly we're like, well, Sarah Jane's in this one.
This one's a big deal about a companion coming back.
Yeah.
No, I mean that's fine. I mean, if it's not a redundant side character,
Yes.
like the ones in New Earth,
Right,
then
the cat people.
yeah, or
And
even
more
the
patience and
even the ones in the werewolf episode of like, they were all redundant as well. But someone that actually has impact.
To be fair though, I have to say Doctor Who has a lot of redundant side characters.
Oh, I know
because
that.
of the nature of the show.
there's a lot of cannon fodder.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Doctor Who's recycle bin is fucking massive. And the plot. What did you think of the plot?
the plot was good. It wasn't like it was a good constant stream of information about the story and what's going to happen, and it climaxed at the right point, and there was good resolution. Everything felt right, you know. It was everything slotted in. There was that first scene of the kids on the computer. God, that fucking dragged out way too long though.
Yeah.
Like that needed to be cut back at like 30 seconds, but it's a little niggly thing.
Yeah, there's some minor issues with some of the shots, but overall, I'd say it was a very consistent.
Yeah, very
plot,
consistent.
and I think it's a very good 45 minutes.
I think my only sort of issue with the plot, like I can still sit down and really enjoy the episode. It doesn't kill it for me, but this is going to sound weird, but I think the stakes were too high.
Right.
The fact that it's set in a school and it's about creating a god particle basically and becoming a god and transforming the universe, it felt incongruous. Like they didn't gel together.
Yeah.
But that's such a niggly thing. Like that.
I think with that kind of plot, you'd expect more time to be given to it.
Absolutely. But the thing is, it did lead to my favourite scene in the episode, which is Mr. Finch coming close to seducing the Doctor. And then Sarah Jane being his moral compass, basically. I really like that scene. So, as I said, it's a minor thing. I really enjoyed the episode. It's just something I thought I should point out.
I was getting flashbacks to like when Palpatine was seducing like Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Or just any of that sort of stuff. It was very Star Wars, wasn't it?
That conflict would have been perfect for a two-parter.
Yeah.
And you could have made that epic.
Yeah.
But
obviously TV restrictions.
Like the thing is, you could have had it be schools all over the world.
Yeah.
And then it would have felt a bit, as opposed to just one school in the middle of London.
Yeah.
I
figured it out pretty quickly though. The whole plot, and it was just. But it was good. It was good.
Like the thing
to watch
this
out.
is a plot that's there to service the characters as opposed to whatever else. Yeah, it's
and outside of a bit of Rose, I think it did a very good job.
Oh, I think it's a really good story. It's just that is a complaint that I thought I should bring up because it is something I find a little meh about the episode.
Okay. So anything else we want to say, or should we move on?
Nah.
All right. So, we are going to be watching a YouTube clip.
Oh.
In this episode, when they were
Daily Motion clip.
When they were sitting down, at the place with the chips, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know what it's called.
Cafeteria.
Whatever. No, the cafe.
When he was fixing K9 on the desk.
Oh, yes.
Sarah J mentioned that
Bistro.
Bistro. That's the word. Sarah J mentioned that that she was supposed to be dropped off at South Croydon, and then she was dropped off. Where was it? It was
Aberdeen.
Aberdeen, which is very far away.
I think, is it Aberdeen in Scotland?
I don't know. I don't know geography. So basically, what we're going to be watching is the clip when that happens.
Okay.
It's when Sarah Jane departs the Doctor.
Yep.
In Old Who.
Cool. I actually want to see this.
Yay!
This is
The Fourth Doctor.
Tom Baker.
Tom Baker. That's it.
Would you like a jelly?
Would you like a jelly baby?
Mm-hmm.
My spidey senses are tingling. I just took too much LSD.
I love this TARDIS console.
What?
Oh, what a beautiful dog.
Don't forget me.
Bye.
You know, travel does broaden the mind.
Yes. Till we meet again, Sarah.
This isn't Hillview Road. I bet it isn't even South Croydon. Hey. Hey. You. He blew it.
So, what did you think of that clip, Jake?
It was good. It was quite weird. Like, I thought it'd be way more melancholy and like a sad goodbye, but it was sort of just like, yep, all right, see you later then.
I think that's how a lot of people might see it if they don't know what to expect.
Right.
It's not supposed to be dramatic.
Right.
It's supposed to be tense.
Yep.
So they're actually holding back their emotions.
Yep.
That's the idea.
Yeah. I got that.
And Tom Baker's Doctor being so alien, the way he reacts to it is very different to how someone else would react to it. You know what I mean?
Or it's very similar to how a human would react to it.
Possibly.
I was also reading about this clip like a couple of weeks ago in this episode, and apparently Elizabeth Sladen and Tom Baker had actually a hand in writing that scene because they'd been together for 3 years at this point, I think, or however long it was. So they knew these characters inside and out. They had such a rapport with each other, and they wanted to write it sort of the way they felt would be natural, and so they were allowed to do it. Again, this might not be true. This is just what I was reading online, so it's probably bullshit. But just the sort of understated way that Sarah Jane doesn't even say goodbye. She just sort of goes,
Yeah.
and like it's just she's on the brink of tears, but she can't do
And
it.
a lot of people wouldn't. Some people wouldn't be able to read that because there's no music.
Yeah.
So if you had, say, Murray Gold in the background, it'd be very, very obvious what's going on.
Yeah.
But because there's no music, you sort of have to. Yeah, sort of have to get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, I think it's a fantastic scene, really.
It is.
It's very unique.
I also
in fact.
love that TARDIS console.
It's
The
very
steampunk.
It's very pooey, to be honest.
Really?
I like it, but it's very pooey.
Yeah, it's very dang and dark.
What do you think,
It's
Jake?
The copper,
Yeah. That's alright.
the sort of copper steampunk thing.
Is there like an album with all the different TARDIS insides?
An album.
Like a picture album.
Probably.
Somewhere there would be.
Like concept art and like history of Doctor Who.
But you can't look at it because
I
that
know,
would be spoilers.
I know, but the older ones would be cool to look at those.
Yeah.
I mean, you've been seeing.
Most of them are pretty much the same.
Right.
Yeah, most of them are just white, except for that one.
Yeah.
So back to School Reunion. Very highly rated reviews, fantastic character moments, brilliant CGI effects for the time, and that if you're willing to accept the Scooby-Doo storyline, then the strong nostalgic vibes present in this episode should be enough to carry this episode into a must-see category. Scooby-Doo, that's a good way to describe it.
Yeah.
So is K9 the dog.
K9, Scooby, and Mickey is Shaggy.
Yeah. It was nominated for Best Presentation Short Form, but lost to another episode in the same season.
Ooh. Oh, I think I know the one.
The only complaints I've heard is generally from returning fans that they hate the idea that Sarah Jane was retconned and to have a romantic interest.
But I didn't read it at all that way. I didn't read it like the way they sort of present it in the episode. I think just because the way Rose reacted, people think that's the way Sarah Jane was feeling. But no, I just think he was Sarah Jane's best friend in the whole universe. And she made her life so much better and richer, and without him it felt hollow. I don't think it was a romantic thing at all. And when I watch this episode, I don't see any romance. Yeah. Nor do I think they're implying
It's mainly because I think some of the dialogue suggested it. Because there was, for example, she said, "Oh, you just dumped me." That's how people might read that as, "Oh, we were together and then you dumped me," but it's actually
dumped you off in
literally dumped you. Yeah. No, I have no issues with that at all, and I think people that see that are reading too much into it.
Yep.
And are just plain old Series 2 haters, to be honest.
Oh well, there's a few of those.
Yeah, there is. Right. This was written by Toby Whithouse, who's new to you.
Whithouse? Or Wet House?
Whit. W-H-I-T. Whit. Toby is an actor, stand-up comedian, and screenwriter. He created the TV show Being Human. He also created the TV show No Angels. And he's also worked on Hotel Babylon and The Game.
Haven't seen any of those four.
Yeah.
Hotel Babylon's really good, apparently.
I've heard good things about Being Human.
Yes. Both the American.
Whithouse is... I want to say he's one of my favourite writers, but I don't think so, just because I don't like all of his stories.
Did he also write a couple episodes later on in Series 2?
No.
No, okay.
No.
Okay, then he's not helping.
No, it's actually a while before we see him again.
Okay. Yep.
I like most of his stories. I think there's one or two, actually probably two, that I really don't like, but the rest of them, fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes. And the director was James Hawes. He's back.
After
New Earth,
letting us down on New Earth.
Yeah.
He brought it back to a good, reasonable level.
I think we can agree that his best outing was still The Empty Child that Doctor Dances, though.
Yeah.
The thing is, sometimes when I think about bright colours and 2006, I tend to think of bad direction associated with it, but I actually kind of like it in this. I think they pull it off.
Because it's such a fluffy episode. Like it's a kind of, it's got an emotional core because of Sarah Jane, but it's a bit of a nothing episode, so the visual style reflects that.
Okay.
It's very sort of pulpy and...
Yeah. It was very colourful though. It was almost the opposite of the last episode.
Yeah. It's a nice contrast.
But I do like some of the how they pulled off the eye lines between like the staircases and stuff. That was cool.
The geometry of this one was much better than.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It felt like cut, like it had gone through a fine cut.
Yeah.
Whereas New Earth was a rough cut.
Well, I mean, geometry is easier to do in a school as opposed to some random fucking hospital.
Some CGI building. Yeah.
No, I still, as I said in the recording, I don't know why, but I just wondering why the swimming pool. What was it about the swimming pool? I really want to. I might have to go home and listen to the audio commentary because I really want to know why they chose the swimming pool.
It might be like maybe they thought the lighting would be ominous in there.
The blue sort of
But just it's a school swimming pool. You're like, fuck. I remember. Do you remember like waking up early in the morning to go for like school swimming and how horrible it was? I just had flashbacks to that when I saw that.
And if you're trying to swim in the morning and you're tired, you're just like, I might just drown.
It's like just dropping like a roast chicken in the water and just plops and sinks to the bottom. That's what it's like.
Now you're reminding me of it being at the beach with salty fingers and eating food with like salt water on my hands.
And then sand gets in there.
Oh no! Sandy chips.
First world problems.
Well, you think like there's a little granule in your chip, and you think, oh, it's just salt, and you bite it, and it's crunchy, like properly crunchy. And you're like, oh no, that's sand. There's so many feet.
And it's all soggy because of the salt water.
Yeah, it's soggy with the salt water, and it's been stomped on.
Fucking,
So
why do we go to the beach? Why?
I don't. I don't like the beach. For those exact reasons.
Yeah, it's
And
such
thus I don't
It's
go.
a pain in the ass to wash sand off your body as well.
Yeah.
You know the worst thing is if when you're a kid and because you're stupid as a kid you don't do it properly, and then you hop into bed or something with sand, and then you wake up in the morning there's fucking sand in your bed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ugh. Sand.
Got to wash behind
I don't
your
like
ears,
sand.
kids.
It's rough.
Anyway, that was a weird tangent.
Music. Did
Yep.
you like the music?
Yeah, I thought it was alright.
The thing about Murray Gold in the 3 episodes we've seen, and even in Christmas Invasion so far, he's done nothing that really stands out.
Yeah.
It's all just very sort of incidental music that fits with the story. It sounds really good. It's fast. It's pacey. It
Yeah.
works really, really well. But for me, at least, in these episodes we've seen so far, there's nothing that compares to any stuff in the Series 1 soundtrack.
No way.
Yeah.
I mean, like I really like listening to the unit theme
Yeah.
because it's just a good theme, but it's not as phenomenal of like a story as say like Father's Day or The Lone Dalek or
Yeah.
something like that.
But that's because there hasn't been a story like that yet either.
Yes, there was no real,
Yeah.
other than like maybe Sarah Jane, but the music works for Sarah Jane, but he didn't give her like a distinct theme.
We haven't
Yeah.
gotten like an absolute belter yet. We've only gotten like the I mean,
Yeah.
I like we've gotten episodes that are by design and not to the fault of the writers designed that way.
Yeah.
That they're here and then they're gone.
Yeah.
And they are varying in quality based on how they're written and executed. The music. So, unfortunately, none of the music from this episode was released on the soundtrack. However, luckily, there is a YouTube video that has an unreleased track from this episode.
Excellent.
And it's been named the Scasis Paradigm.
Excellent.
Well, okay then. Do not mind if I do.
He's very fond of those, I'm not sure what it is, but the sort of, the beeps that fade out at the end. Dum, dum, dum.
I don't know. Don't know what you call it.
I like the slightly synthy sound.
Was this played in the episode?
Yep.
Whereabouts?
All over the place.
Oh.
On the computer and stuff.
Oh, yeah, especially that scene, yeah.
The segment you thought went on too long.
Yeah.
Was
That's
it-
alright.
Yeah.
As we were saying, it works for the scene,
Yeah.
but it's not something that I'm gonna be humming afterwards. It's not something that's gonna sit with me.
Yeah,
'Cause there's no resonance.
I would get annoyed if this started playing over and over again in my head.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't want this
No.
stuck in my head.
It's by no means a bad track, but it's nothing special.
Yeah.
I can see why they didn't include it.
Yeah.
It's not one of the better ones, but I think it works for School Reunion. Right. What is it time for, Jake?
Trivia.
Sounded like a boat motor.
Good.
Oh. Okay. Right, so this is the official episode that confirms that the new series is a continuation of the original and not a reboot.
Mm.
So this is the one that sets it in stone.
Yep.
With that connection to Sarah Jane. Working titles. One was Black Ops.
What?
One of the working titles was Black Ops. And the other one was Old Friends.
Alright.
That'd be so weird if it was called Black
Some
Ops.
dude just started playing Black Ops that night and was like, yeah.
Well, Black Ops wasn't even out yet.
Yeah, true.
Well, it's a time travel show.
Oh, that's true. The doctor's like, oh, Black Ops, that was a fun game, and they're like, what's that? What's Black Ops? He's like, oh, a bit early. The original storyline submission for the episode involved the Doctor meeting Sarah Jane whilst investigating events at an army base near an isolated village. That's probably why.
That's why it would be, Black Ops.
Yeah. The change of location to a school was suggested by Russell T Davies. Whithouse later clarified in the DVD commentary that the original specification for the script given to an unnamed writer had been for a school. The writer had instead submitted an episode set in an army base and admitted that writing for Doctor Who was possibly not for him, so Whithouse had to write a script set in the school in a hurry.
I did a pretty good job for a hurried script.
Yeah, for a rush script, it does a very good job.
Yeah. Yeah.
To be honest, an army base would have been kind of cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would have been. But,
And as I said, like, had the story been pretty much exactly the same, but in an army base, then the whole God's code thing,
That would have made more sense.
it would have fit better
Yeah.
in an army base, because you would have all the military equipment and the military grade computers as opposed to just school computers with
Yeah.
school internet.
And
That just-
plugged into one PowerPoint.
Yes.
yeah, it could have been interesting. But I also feel like it may have been strange. I don't know, there's just something about the idea of Doctor meeting Sarah Jane in an army base that seems weird to me.
True. Yeah.
And the school has sort of like this
Where
homely
did the
feel to
Doctor
it.
first meet Sarah Jane with John Pertwee?
In an army base?
In an army base.
Oh, okay then.
I just yeah.
Okay.
Maybe it would have made more sense.
The canine prop used at the end of the episode is one of the original props from the 70s.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
What, is it like a little RC car? There's some dude standing off the back with a remote.
Yeah. I think so.
That's hilarious.
There's an episode called The Invisible Enemy, which is the one where he's introduced in. And when he's invited to board the TARDIS, the camera has to pan up because K9 can't get into the TARDIS. So funny. So they literally, like, if you were on set, you just see K9 drive into the into the side of the so stupid. In one scene, Rose and Sarah break up with laughter when the Doctor enters the room after spending several minutes comparing notes on the Doctor. To get a realistic reaction, David Tennant wore a fake mustache, unbeknownst to the actresses as he entered the scene. This is why Billy Piper points at him in the episode. Their reaction was caught in one take.
Way to go.
This reminds me of Bad Wolf when they changed up all the questions to get genuine reactions.
Yes.
During the scene in the fish and chip shop when the Doctor and Sarah talk about her leaving him, Love Will Tear Us Apart by Joy Division is played in the background.
Oh yeah.
When Sarah and Rose argue, they refer to a lot of encounters with aliens. Sarah refers to meeting the mummies, which is a reference to Pyramids of Mars.
Yep.
Lots of robots. The Time Warrior robot, the Suntaran Experiment, Revenge of the Cybermen, the Android Invasion, and the Five Doctors.
Yep.
Daleks, Death to the Daleks, Genesis of the Daleks. Antimatter Monsters, Planet of Evil.
Yep.
Dinosaurs, Invasion of the Dinosaurs. And the Loch Ness Monster from Terror of the Zygons. That's some trivia.
It'll be on the test later.
Okay.
Oh, we're going to do like a massive test. After 10 seasons, it's like, how much trivia do you know? Elizabeth Sladen warned the crew about difficulties with working with the K9 prop, which had a reputation for breaking down. Despite several years of improvement in technology, Sladen's warnings were proved correct.
Of course they were.
Sarah's last line to K9 is, "We've got work to do." This was also the last line of the original series run at the conclusion of the 7th Doctor story, Survival,
Ah, the one we showed
with the cheetah people.
with the cheetah on the horse and Ace running through the playground.
Such a weird story. The aliens were initially Krillians, but when it was discovered that that name had been already trademarked, they became Krillitanes.
Do we know what it's been trademarked from?
I didn't write that down.
Ah.
It's my fault. Sorry.
That's right. That would have been some good trivia.
Filming at Da Vinci's coffee shop in Newport for scenes in the cafe was hampered by the presence of severely unruly drunks.
Fucking England.
Is that a camera? Hey.
Of
The
course.
script included dialogue that Sarah Jane Smith was a recovering alcoholic,
No!
but Elizabeth Sladen suggested the lines to be removed.
Good job. I think that's...
This
Like,
is a
it's-
child's show.
it's
family.
It's okay for Doctor Who to touch on darker themes,
Yeah.
but I feel like taking a classic companion, who on the whole is a pretty, like, upright, kind of kind soul, to have it be broken and alcoholic and miserable kind of would just be depressing, as well as, like, alcoholic in a family show is kind of...
if they had done
that,
I would understand the uproar from the classic fans.
Yes.
Yeah. Anthony Head, who played Mr. Finch, was screen tested to play the 8th Doctor.
Yes.
But he got down rolled.
Yeah. He would have been a great Doctor.
I heard the other day, apparently there were some famous actors that were screen tested for the 8th Doctor, and they included the likes of, I think one of them was Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And
They went for some American actors.
Yeah, and I think there was a couple of options.
The 8th Doctor.
Yeah.
So before
Christopher Eccleston.
And in that episode, the villain in that story, before they got who they got, they originally wanted Christopher Lloyd from Back to the Future.
Oh, yeah.
Which would have been amazing and slightly terrible.
So what if we got Jim Carrey and Christopher Lloyd?
I don't want to think about that.
In a Doctor Who story. Alright. The confrontation between the Doctor and Finch was originally scripted to happen in the school gymnasium, but was moved to the pool, which James Hawes felt served as a more dynamic setting.
Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. Yep. There we go.
Thank you, James Hawes.
Yeah, I feel like it would have looked better than a gymnasium.
Gymnasium's too empty.
Well, they went to the gymnasium when Sarah realised the Doctor was the Doctor. That was the gymnasium, and it was very dark, and it would have been atmospheric. But the pool kind of added this cold atmosphere, which was So
maybe there was the implication that maybe one was going to throw each other into the pool or something.
Yeah.
But then I don't know. Now
like the Doctor try and drown him or something.
Yeah. Yeah. What if they just throw each other in it as like a joke?
Okay, jump on 3, 2, 1.
Better than the beach.
Oh, silly.
Filming at Dufferin High School in Newport for the scene in which Mickey crashes the car into the front of the school was briefly delayed due to an asbestos scare.
You know, there's a funny bit of trivia about this room that we're currently sitting in. This room, before it turned into an editing suite, was actually had asbestos all through these pipes, and was not safe to work in. But it's good now. Don't worry. I think.
Okay. This series might stop suddenly. Now you know why.
Yeah. Blame asbestos.
Asbestos.
Mickey originally didn't appear in this episode, which when I think about it, that does make sense because he didn't have a lot to do.
Yeah.
I feel this sort of served as a starting off point for Mickey trying to prove himself.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely happy that he was in it. I'm just saying that the fact that he didn't have a lot to do shows that he was tacked on. Well, not tacked on. He was.
I think
He was-
though he served his he didn't have much to do, but he did have a significant working with K9, and even though he was sort of the comic relief.
Cool. One of my favorite scenes in the episode is we are in a car.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
The TARDIS was originally going to be hidden in a supply closet, which would actually come to fruition in another episode down the road.
I think I know the one.
I forgot.
It's not till much. I think I know the one.
Well, I don't know.
My mind's blanking on that.
Jan did it.
Huh? Oh, okay. You tell me later. This episode would be the genesis for the spin-off show, The Sarah Jane Adventures, which we're gonna watch.
When?
Not for a while.
Yeah. There's other things that come first.
But are you in any way interested in the idea of that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's a cool character.
Yeah.
Is it like her and K9 just kicking about?
I guess so.
Yeah.
Right.
Nothing happens. They're just at home. It's just
Sweet.
them.
She's just-
45 minutes per episode, just sitting at home talking to a dog.
I'm down with it.
Yeah. Because they had to save budget, so it's just her and the dog.
Right.
No creatures.
The viewership for School Reunion was 8.3 million, which is about the same as New Earth, wasn't it? Because Tooth and Claw was closing in on 10.
Yeah.
So it's come back down, but
I thought
still.
New Earth was like 6
No,
million.
no.
Oh.
Bad Wolf was 6.
Oh, right, that's right.
Yeah, no. You're thinking that the good episodes have more. No, that's not right.
It just doesn't make sense.
But it's back down to 8 million, which is still a relatively good rating.
Yep.
Solid. Strange how it was less than last week, considering what it was advertising, though.
True.
Because last week was advertising a wolf, as opposed to a returning character.
Yeah.
What?
No, I
Maybe
agree.
a wolf-
I just have nothing to add.
I think a wolf appeals to more people.
But in terms of Doctor Who fans,
Yeah.
Sarah Jane's a big deal.
Yeah, but there wouldn't be there.
Sarah Jane returning is like the Daleks returning.
I know, but okay. This is my thesis. So if you have an old person returning, the only people excited, well, not the only, but the people excited to watch it are the old Doctor Who fans, who are probably already watching it anyway.
Good point.
The wolf is just an added incentive for other people that don't even know what the show is about to watch it, because they're like, "Ooh, werewolf!"
Oh, they're like, oh, gothic horror, better tune in.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which is why it will be
maybe
at 10 million.
Scotland, the setting of Scotland
Yeah.
is so appealing.
Something like
Maybe
that.
they put those kung fu monks in the trailer. Which I did research and I found out it is the same actor that plays Pirate Pre from Game of Thrones.
That's an extra bit of trivia for you
Yeah.
for free.
Yes, bit of a bonus.
The rest of this is going to cost you.
I'm interested in. I'm very, very interested in this bit.
Yeah.
Give your conclusion and rating out of 10.
Alright, my conclusion is that I did enjoy this episode, and I liked the little bit of a throwback with the introduction of an old character, but in a new way. And I liked the conflict, and I liked the villain. Everything felt very well done and hit the points, hit the marks. There wasn't anything that really was horrible to me and like ruined the episode. Like, for example, in New Earth, the shitty geometry and just weird humor.
No, but
Geography, sorry. Geometry. It's same jibber jabber.
Yeah.
We got bad geometry too, to be honest.
Yeah, it felt like a more polished episode and something that I expect from Doctor Who and that I hold Doctor Who to so far. And so I will give it a 7 out of 10. A nice, good episode that I enjoyed watching, and I didn't feel bored watching it.
Excellent. For me, I pretty much reiterate everything you said. I think it's a really, really solid episode. It's as a old school, like, because I grew up watching the classic series concurrently with the new series. And like back even before the new series, when I was really, really young, I used to watch the classic series on ABC, Australian television. So seeing Sarah Jane back was super exciting and amazing, and I loved the way they portrayed her in this episode. They didn't go too miserable or dark with that. I think it was the right balance of upset, but just so relieved to see him again and get that closure. Didn't really like what they did with Rose, but I talked about that in length before. I enjoyed Mickey being there as the comedic relief and working with K9 and sort of like a crossover with the classic series and the new series to some extent. Really, really liked Mr. Finch, the villain. I think he's one of the best sort of one-off villains Doctor Who's done.
Yeah.
I just find him so captivating, and Anthony Head's such a dynamic presence without doing that much beyond stretching his face. That being said, this episode doesn't blow me away. I find myself, when I rewatch it, I don't get much out of it other than Mr. Finch. Like, I find the elements of Sarah Jane returning, they're not as exciting as when they first happened, which is just to be expected. But on rewatch, I don't find it as, it's hard for me to say, but not as powerful or not as captivating.
It's definitely not a rewatch episode.
No. It's really, really solid, and as you said, it's a standard that Doctor Who should be held to. But it's not great, nothing spectacular, so it's 7.5 from me.
Well, you made some very good points, but I think I'm a lot more forgiving of this episode in terms of its rewatchability. I think this is the first time we truly see the 10th Doctor.
True, yes.
I also think it's a necessary episode to... It really expands Doctor Who's on a scale.
Yes.
And it takes it from being something that's just this one series and a half to something that's actually you can see all this scale and what's happened and how this show actually has this entire library of information. And I find that when I think about how to rank this episode, it's kind of one of those things where it's like Father's Day, where I judge it based off what it does.
Yep.
As opposed to comparing it side by side on a more general basis. And I think this is probably one of the most well-executed returns from a classic character to the new series. I think it's done absolutely brilliantly.
Yeah.
And I think this entire episode from start to finish is a very fun ride with some very cool scenes. Outside of there's some unlikable dialogue from Rose, but I do think her character was heading in that direction, and it's not like it doesn't make sense.
No, it's
but probably I think some of Rose was probably the niggle I had with it. But overall, I think I really, really like School Reunion, and I have a high level of nostalgia for it. So I'm going to give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Oh, wow. There's some variation in our scores so far.
Series 2's being turbulent.
Yeah.
Yep. And I'm not ashamed to say that, because even though it's not the biggest deal episode, I think for what it sets out to do, it does it. Yep.
I agree with you.
And it delivers. Cool. So, we're going to move on to some comments. So this, we've only got one for this video. And it's from Laura Kay. And it's to do with The Empty Child the Doctor Dances. So a bit of trivia. Richard Wilson, who plays Dr. Constantine, is generally a comedic actor and has worked with David Tennant on several projects. They starred together in a series called Duck Patrol in the late 90s, and David was guest starred on a later TV show of his, and they've done several audio projects as well. The two of them apparently are good friends. David Tennant has said on several occasions Richard Wilson was a role model for him. Richard Wilson appeared in the tribute video for the David Tennant's NTA Special Recognition Award in 2015.
National Television Awards, right?
Yeah. That's the one little anagram I couldn't figure out.
Right.
Yeah. Well, not anagram, whatever it's called. Yeah, so that's cool.
Yeah.
It's a cool bit of trivia.
Who said that?
Laura Kay.
Thank you, Laura.
Yes.
I go.
Right, so was the timing right to connect up the old show with the new show?
Yeah, I feel like it could have really happened at any time. I think it's that connection is definitely more important for old show watchers. For someone like me coming from a new point of view, it's nice to know that there's this rich history of Doctor Who, and it's good to know that they are always taking a nod to it, or they're always keeping it in mind whilst writing these episodes.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of it, it's not going to sell me on, or it's not going to wow me on the episode, basically.
The thing is, I think it's a good time to start connecting it up proper to the old series, because with the first series they had to really establish what is this new thing, and obviously they had elements like the Daleks coming back, but they're completely redesigned. Russell had the inspired decision to have this big life-changing thing, which was the Time War, so that the whole universe has changed going forward. And so they had a season of that, and then now they could start introducing more familiar elements now that it's firmly planted its feet as its own thing.
Yeah, I think School Reunion is very perfectly placed.
Yeah.
Right, so what would you like to see next time?
This is always a very hard question, because it's like it is a hard question to answer, and then there's not much that I can really string out from my mind anymore, of what I want to see. Like, I just want to see more, just more of the 10th Doctor. Just like, I don't know, now I'm introduced to him.
Yeah.
Finally. Just more, Yeah.
Well, next time we're going to be watching The Girl in the Fireplace.
The girl with the dragon tattoo.
No.
Not quite the same thing.
No,
Oh,
not quite the
shit.
same thing. We're going to be watching The Girl in the Fireplace.
All right.
And hopefully you get something out of it.
Yeet.